I mean, these are 34-inch waist jeans. See that? When I told my sister to know that, she said, yeah, right, okay, well, I'm not as fat as my arse then. But I mean, people have always sort of taken the piss out of me carrying a few extra pounds. I mean, it's just one of those things. I was in Marks and Spencer's a few weeks ago with my wife, and we got to the front of the queue. Eventually, there was a big queue. We got to the front of the queue, and the little twat on the till just looks at me and goes, I'm sorry about your weight. I mean, that's just rude, isn't it? No, that's not very nice at all. I wasn't going to take that. I looked at him and said, yeah, well, I'm sorry about your squint. Now, give us me change. Anyway, he threw the change at me, but it was okay. It hit me like, you know. So anyway, we had actually been in Marks and Spencer. She was buying a new bra, and you know, so I was stranded in the lingerie department. Never a good place to be when you're a middle-aged man like me. You know, just not good at all. But luckily, there was a few distractions there to look at, you know. And I looked over to one side and I thought, God, look at this figure on there. That's amazing. Honest to God, a middle-aged man perving at the mannequins in Marks. I mean, what's my life come to? Terrible, honestly. But I mean, one of them was standing there kind of like that, sort of, with Marks and Spencer's finest underwear on. There was another one leaning forward with all the cleavage, you know. And I swear to God, there was one standing there like that. Honestly. That one wasn't dressed at the time, really. But you were going to promote the new Marks and Spencer's Readers' Wives selection. So, you know, I mean, so my wife said to me, are you perving at those mannequins? And I went, no, of course not. And she goes, yes, you are, you dirty pervert. Then she asked me that question that all men dread. Well, what's she got that I haven't got? I mean, how do you answer the question? Like, you know what I mean? Well, fucking clean underwear for a start. Anyway, the one that was stood there like that, anyway, I mean, it was very realistic. I mean, I thought I saw her moving at one point, but I mean, she wasn't there when I went back later on. I mean, on my way through to the food hall. But, honestly, so I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, what's my life come to? I'm perving mannequins in Marks and Spencer's. And then a thought occurred to me, I wonder what Debenhams is like. John Lewis. I thought, oh well, you know, I'll give Primark a miss, you know. I didn't want to lose my dignity on it. But anyway, I'm 54, 55 in next April, and a middle-aged man, and I've been a nurse for 27 years, and I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of young girls in the 20s and 30s. I work with them, and they're always pleased to see me. It's always very nice to work with these people, and it's nice to have a connection with a generation younger than your own. That's really very nice. So I've noticed there's a few gentlemen of a certain age similar to mine here tonight. So with my experience, maybe you work with some young ladies, and you think maybe there's some kind of connection there. You know, maybe you've seen a twinkle in somebody's eye that you work with, and you're thinking, 54, she's 25. You know, so maybe I can give you the benefits of my experience. You know, maybe I can give you a little tip. You've got no fucking chance. No chance. You see, the thing is, we've all been 25 before. We know what it's like to be 25. We've got a connection with them. They just think we're repulsive. Absolutely repulsive. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not deluded. I know how old I am. I've got mirrors in my house, but they just fucking lie to me. As simple as that. When I look in the mirror, the person I was 35 years ago looks back at me, you know, and it's very confusing. So much so that I can't even give myself eye contact anymore when I look at the mirror. So, if anybody wants to know what they really look like when you get to a certain age, what I suggest you do is you go and have a walk up and down your high street, and eventually you'll catch a glimpse of yourself in a shop window, and that's when you'll get the fright of your life. I mean, I was walking up and down Church Street in Liverpool the other week, and we walked past Dawson's, the music shop, and I was with Debbie, my wife, and I caught myself when I was least expecting it in the shop window, and I said to my wife, there's Fabio Capello in there. Fucking hell. Oh no, it's Paul Potts. that's what I need to do. But some of these girls, you know, that I work with, they're all very nice. One of them actually said to me once, do you know what makes you so sexy? The fact that you love your wife so much. So what's the fucking point of that? What's the point of that? You know, that is like winning the lottery in pesetas. You know, that's no good, is it? Really, that's no good at all. What, they call me in work, they call me their work dad. That's lovely, isn't it? No, it's not. It's a warning. They're saying, we love you, but don't fucking touch. Now, I said that I love my wife, and I do love my wife very much. I've been married to Debbie for 16 years. She's lovely. There's nothing that we can't do in each other's company. For example, a few weeks ago, we were sat there on the couch together, and I felt a fart coming along, and I thought, well, she knows what I smell like, you know. My knees aren't as good as they were. I'll just let it go here. It doesn't really matter anymore. We were watching something on the telly. I thought she wouldn't notice. So I let it slip out. It was only a little one. It was only that long, maybe. Quite cool. It wasn't like a hot danger fart or anything like that. You know, but it filled the room. It was, what's the word? It was fabulous. It was. I mean, what is it about your own farts? It was just amazing, you know, like, I had to get it all in because it was just so it was nutty. You know what I mean, don't you? It was nutty. It had a hint of garlic, and you could definitely sense the sweet corn. It was fabulous. And my wife turned around to me and went, oh, fucking hell. I'm sorry about that. I've never felt so violated. I've been getting it all in. You know, I left her nothing, you know. But I mean, life was so much simpler when we were kids, like, you know. I mean, we were quite poor when we were kids, but there was always somebody that could outdo you. We had a neighbour 2 doors up called Mrs. Jackson. She had 6 kids and no man in the house or anything like that. And this was in the 1960s, and eventually she just had enough. She pushed all the kids off to school, and she said, that's it, I'm going to gas myself in the oven, I really can't take it anymore. So she lay down on the floor, she put her head in the oven, turned the gas on, and you know, she was like, take me out. I mean, poor Mrs. Jackson. The shilling ran out underneath her. She didn't have a penny to finish the job. Poor woman. But when I was 7 years old, it was the summer holidays, and I said to me, Mum, I'm bored, you know, I need something to do. So she goes, well, go and get some shopping in for me then. And oh, fucking great. You know, that's going to make me feel better. So she gave me this list. She said, yeah, I'll go and get the shopping in. I was 7 years old, like that. Go and get the shopping in. Go to the first shop, Mike's, and use agent. So I went to there, walked up to the counter. 20 number 6, please, and a box of matches. 7 years old, no problem at all. There you go. Now don't shake those matches up black because the friction could set them on fire. Mike's in your hand there. Put them in your pocket right there where you can't put your hand. Okay then, yeah. So then, the next thing on the list. Cross over the road and go to Ralph's. Now be very careful. Be very careful. Approach a stranger and ask him to cross you over the road. Honestly, approach a stranger, make sure you hold his hand. So there it was. This fella came along, and so I asked him to cross me over the road. Got to Ralph's, which is a handyman store. Walked up to the counter and said to Ralph, a gallon of paraffin, please, Ralph. which he quite happily handed this gallon of paraffin over to me like that. We always put the container in the day before. So there I was, walking down the road with my ciggies and my petrol bomb in the other hand. And the next thing on the list said, go and get yourself a comic. So, all right then, yeah. So I went to this Greek news agent a bit further down the road. And I walked in there, and I had quite a bit of change left. And I thought, well, I'm not going to buy the bean or the dandy this week. I'll get something else, something a bit more expensive. So I had this little spiral rack in the corner full of what I could only describe at the time as sort of continental exotic literature. I didn't really know what it was at 7 years old, you know, but it looked interesting, you know, and I'd never seen pictures like that before in my life, you know. And so I thought, oh, there was a little one at the bottom there with some cartoons in it. So I thought, oh, that's great, I'll buy that. And so I went up to the Greek news agent, And I said, I'll have that, please. And he goes, okay, son, yeah, no problem. You know, let me just roll it up for you to protect it from the rain. And I was like, fucking the flags up there. What's he talking about? So anyway, I walked out the shop, and there I was, walking down the road with my petrol bomb, my ciggies, and my board in my pocket. Fantastic. And I bumped into my mother. She'd just been to the co-op, and she just bought some like sausages, milk, bread, stuff like that. You know, the stuff that I could have bought legally. But she chose to send me for the contraband 7 minutes ago. So she goes, what's that comic you've got there? So I said, oh, it's great, this. It's full of, like, rude pictures. It's really funny. Look, that woman's got her boobs out at the front there, like, you know, it's just cartoons. And she goes, Dirty Weekend. That's for dirty old perverts, like your father. Take that back to the shop now. So I was dead embarrassed, like, you know, and I said, Mum, well, no, it's dead funny, look. I mean, look at this one on page 17. I mean, that fella there, he's got his willy out, look at that, that's dead funny, that. And look at the face on that sheep, I mean, that's just really So she goes, no, take that back, you can't have that, that's terrible. So she tracked me by the ear, back into the newsagents, took me up to the counter, and I'm cowering behind my mum there, with my petrol bomb there, and my ciggies there, and my matches. And she threw this comic back on the counter and said to the fella, fancy selling that to a fucking child. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 10 minutes you'll never get back. Thanks for sharing.